What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Game Show presented by Front Yard Fantasy. You are back in the middle of mock draft week. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, John Luke. What's up, JL?
I apologize for prematurely sloganing all over the place.
That's okay, JL. Sometimes you prematurely slogan, it happens.
Usually I time it perfectly, but today it just came in a little early.
It happens.
Guys, also joining us today, another member of the Front Yard fam. We've got Joey Wright on with us. What's up, Joey?
Not much. I was feeling a little low before the show, energy, and I went and got myself a Loca, like a Java monster, and I'm ready to like break something now. Let's go.
If you drink that whole thing too fast, just a pair of Oakleys are going to appear on your face as you chug the monster, I think.
When I was in Canton at the mall, nobody had hot coffee, and so I had to settle for one of these, and I've been addicted since. So.
That's how they get you. Was it from Mr. Corn and Crepes?
It was. Was it? Yes, Mr. Corn and Crepes is where I got my Java monster. Yeah.
The Canton icon, the Canton Mall iconic restaurant, Mr. Corn and Crepes. If you want Mexican street corn or a crepe, you can get it in one nice location. Guys, also joining us today on the show, we have a special guest coming back onto the Fantasy Football Game Show. It's Jeff Haseley. For those of you that do not know Jeff is a senior writer over at Football Guys, and he's a digital designer and video editor for our friends over at Champions Round, the Fantasy Doctors, and at 4 for 4. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on with us today, my man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to doing another mock draft.
Yet another one.
Yes. Guys, and everybody watching, I know all of you already know who Jeff is. And so if you want to play in a fantasy league with him this year, Jeff is actually part of the Pros with Joe's charity tournament that's going on. If you make a donation, you'll be entered for a chance to play with Jeff. And the charity that he's playing for is the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So Jeff, have you done this before? Have you done the Pros with Joe's tournament in the past?
Actually, no, I was, I turned it down last year. I don't remember why. I think I wasn't able to. But this is my first year doing it, and looking forward to having a team with someone. And I think it's just going to be me kind of being a coach and letting them kind of take the reins. I mean, it just depends on who it is and what their level is and this and that. But definitely looking forward to the opportunity.
It's exactly what I did last year with J-Wall.
No, it was just a fight the entire time, but it was so much fun. It was the most fun fight we've ever had.
We all cared very much during the draft and then not so much after.
But guys, if you want to play with Jeff this year in that Pros with Joe's tournament, go to Pros with Joe's, and you can go to proswithjoes.com, find Jeff on there, and you can go play with him. Guys, we got people in the chat ready for today's show. Greg came in about an hour ago and said, I'm taking a nap, but we'll be back for the start. Don't worry.
Hope you didn't oversleep.
And then he said, nap didn't happen. Wife kept interrupting it for chores she had for me. SMH.
Wow, what a jerk.
Well, Craig,
salads.
How dare she interrupt her
maybe
houses.
Hollandaise sauce. I like it better as houses. It's two foods and then houses. Salad, mayonnaise, houses. That reminds me of I've been on I don't know if my TikTok just heard me talk about Mitch Hedberg a little bit too much or something, but now my feed is about 80% Mitch Hedberg comedy bits. Like just every other video is Mitch Hedberg. And he had a joke where he talks about he's going to open up a line of chair lunch dinners across from every bed and breakfast, like every bed and breakfast, because they're missing out on a whole opportunity right there. People are going to get hungry and want someplace to sit. But the SMH reminded me of that, Joey. We got You Can't Hang in the chat. What's up, You Can't Hang?
What up, You Can't Hang?
And Swamp, what's up? Welcome.
Who
He
dat?
said, who dat? And he said, I keep missing y'all analyzing my JJ League team, but here's day 3. I know you've been in and out of the stream, but we'll hit on it today during the draft. We will hit on your team today.
Swamp is in my Des Bryant best ball league.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, I saw his name pop in there. I got excited.
Swamp. Mr. Scampers in the chat says, what does Joey's thumbnail oh hi sound like? Joe, you were looking seductive in that.
Oh my God. You just had power. You just had this confidence I've never seen.
What is that, Joey? How does that Joey say oh hi?
Oh hi.
Oh my
God. Ooh, whoa, you just pulled that out on the spot. That was sultry, Joseph. I wasn't ready for that. You got me flustered. I think I'm blushing now.
My next endeavor is a late night start sit show where I give start sits and love advice. I have candles behind me, kind of like the ladies' man.
Instead of start sits and salutations,
you can invite
whoa.
You can invite both genders at
How you doing?
Equal value.
Welcome to
There you go.
And salutations. I'll be your guide on this magic carpet ride of love and starts and sits.
By the end of the stream, I will have Joey agree to a date with me. That is a promise.
Is that your date?
I'm easy. It won't take much.
I'm macking the whole time. My whole mission of it for the next hour has just changed.
Is that your Tom Selleck shirt, JL?
This is my Hawaiian.
Yeah, the mustache is in the middle of his chest.
Got volcanoes.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
man.
That was rude.
That was not rude. Guys, we got Dustin in the chat. What's up, Dustin? Welcome in. And then you can't hang saying good afternoon, gents, after expression of sympathies for Craig. Albert, what's up? Good afternoon. Glad to have you in. And
Albert.
Craig giving us the update 5 minutes in. Liverpool 0,
Yeah.
Newcastle 0. You got the scores pulled up too, Joey?
Yeah, I sent Craig a message. I was like, hey, man, if you had fun doing those Liverpool updates, there's a match at 3. He's like, got you, Joey. Thanks, Craig.
Carlos in here saying Mexican corn, does it have the juice? JL has been mad at me because that song got stuck in my head, but I only knew the first word, which is corn. So for like 2 days randomly, I'd just be like,
2
corn.
days?
And then
2 days?
I didn't even know the next line. I've learned more lyrics since then, but
It was like 2.5 weeks. We talk all the time because, we do this. And it just we randomly talking all hours a day. Be like, corn. Stop saying that.
The rest of the songs play into my head just without the words. Guys, also, I think we'll talk about this once we start the draft, but Jalen Reagor was traded to the Vikings for a 23 7th and a 24 4th. We're going to get this draft started, but then I want to get your opinions on what that means. So start thinking about it. You may not have to think too hard because it's Jalen Reagor on a new team, but we'll touch on that once we get this draft started. Yeah, I foreshadowed my opinion on that one. Dame in the chat. What's up, Dame? Welcome in. Glad to have you here.
Dame, I hope you took a nap.
Dame.
Yeah, Dame was up a little bit too early this
Hopefully
morning.
Craig's wife didn't ask you to do chores too.
No. Guys, before we get into our mock draft, there's a couple things I got to make sure that you hear first. Number one is if you're not already following our guest Jeff on Twitter, go and fix that right now this instant. He's on Twitter at Jeff Haseley. It's right there below his wildly handsome face on the screen. And he figured out the point. That takes skill on camera. I don't think you know how hard it is to point to the correct
I'm nailing
thing.
it.
I can't even point to. I can point to yours there, Simon.
Up. Nailed it.
Up.
Yeah, I got up and down. It's just the left and right that confuses me every single time. Guys, after you do that, point B, because I saw Joey put the 1 up. I just wanted to not say 2 so that he couldn't put another finger up. So B, if you have not done so already and you're watching this video, you're probably already on our YouTube channel. Hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to Front Yard Fantasy.
It's in the
the
game.
easiest way to make sure you're in the game, 100%. Guys, are you ready to get started with our mock draft?
I'm still trying to make letters with my fingers. Hold on.
I just made myself big on accident. That's not what
Big
I meant
Simon.
to do. This is what I meant to do.
Why don't we ever use that one? I like Big Simon.
Maybe we should use Big Simon a little bit more. Whenever Simon goes on a tangent, maybe Simon goes to Big Simon until he's uncomfortable and stops.
Is JL commentating today?
JL is going to be commentating
today.
Okay.
And guys, today we are doing a half PPR redraft mock draft. This mock draft is going to have 1 quarterback starting, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and then 2 flex spots. That flex is wide receiver, running back, or tight end. So this is a 2 wide receiver, 2 flex, half PPR, 12-team league. And for those of you that have never played in PPR formats, PPR just means point per reception. This is half a point per reception. Every time they catch the ball, they're going to get half a point, an additional half point on top of the yardage and touchdowns totals that they get for scoring those things. JL, are you ready to get this going?
Oh, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Really tough for me. I'm going to hit the start button. Woo, I did it. Good job, me.
Good job.
We got a question before.
And we're off.
And we're off. And we got a question before we even start. First pick. Connor. What up, Connor? Said, would you trade A.J. Dillon or Tyler Boyd if you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? 12-man PPR. Would you trade A.J. Dillon for Tyler Boyd? Essentially another Bengal on the same team. Jeff, what do you think first?
No. Keep Dillon.
Keep Dillon. So, okay, you're keeping Dillon.
Yeah.
I don't care what it says after the if. Like that part doesn't matter.
I didn't think about the players. I just read it. But now that I think about it, it makes more sense.
Yeah, I'm with Jeff. I'm keeping Dillon. This isn't particularly close for me. Tyler Boyd's at best the 3rd receiving option on that team with 2 like alpha wide receivers, like a 1A and a 1B. Tyler Boyd's going to have big games this year, but A.J. Dillon has a solidified role in the rushing game every single week. Like you can flex A.J. Dillon every single week. You can't flex Tyler Boyd every week. You need an injury or you need a good matchup against the slot. in order to be able to flex him. It's Dillon for me. I don't care if this is redraft, dynasty, PPR, half PPR, super flex, tight. Like, it literally doesn't matter what you say after the if, unless it's a point per last name that starts with B league.
That's a great point. Yeah, that is a good point. I don't know that there's much to add there. We got some picks now. We got CMC was the first taken, then Jonathan Taylor, then Justin Jefferson, followed by Derrick Henry. Jeff, are you tempted to take any of, like, if you were taking your second, like, let's say you're drafted from the second spot, are you tempted to take Derrick Henry or Austin Eckler, anyone other than CMC or Jonathan Taylor?
Oh yeah, I would take Jefferson second. I have Jefferson ahead of McCaffrey.
What is so what's your thought process on that? Is it you just think do you think it has more upside? Is it more about the receiver position versus running back?
I think it's more about the receiver position versus running back, but also the fact that first round receivers generally tend to not bust versus first round running backs, which has more of a tendency to do so, like 40-50% of the time. So, and when I say bust, meaning that they're not top 10 like they were last year, right? So Jefferson, in my opinion, is a great pick in the top 4 or 5. I mean, it depends really on who takes them ahead of you.
Right.
So I'm fine with taking Jefferson over McCaffrey, who, we don't know. We don't know if he's going to be healthy. If he's on the field, great. If he's not on the field, he's not going to do anything. So,
right.
But Taylor would be my 1, Jefferson 2.
And then is CMC 3?
CMC, 3, but I usually, if I have 3, I'm probably looking at Jefferson, to be honest with you. But I mean, I'm okay if CMC falls to 6 or 7, but I mean, he's never going to fall that far. I don't think. I'm just not sure if I would be willing to pull that trigger. As much as a McCaffrey fan as I am and a Panthers fan as I am, I got to be a realist here.
Yeah. It's fancy. You got to win. Joey.
Yeah.
You took Eckler.
I did.
Good job.
Yep. Happy about it.
Actually, pretty neutral on that pick. I think it's a good pick.
Yeah. It's right where Eckler's, he might be going a little bit later hanging around. I have him as my running back 3, which I would probably take him 4th or 5th overall. See, I would take Jefferson before Eckler and then Kupp's after Eckler for me.
Oh, Gary, you stinker.
Gary, you little stinker.
Gary. That was my plan on the way back, and you ruined it. After Dame already ruined my initial plan of starting Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs. I've had 2 plans foiled so far.
Man, by those closest to you.
I know. Yeah. Dame and Gary. I'm
Dame and Gary. Scott Fish. Oh, wait, I lost it. Uh-oh. Scott Fish did something.
Yeah, he did a lot of something.
Why can I never get in these mocks? I don't know. We left you in the Discord.
Scott, I'll do a tag team for you if you want. You can make my next pick.
He's going to be like, I'm going to get a message in like 15 seconds. Link. He's going to open up Twitter in anticipation of it.
Who we taking, Scott?
Better open up the messages too. Sometimes he likes to switch it up so that it's like a little game of hide and seek to find where his message is.
Actually, Scott just messaged me. Please don't have JL send me the link. I don't want to come on this damn show.
Now I'm definitely going to send him the link. Just out of spite.
That's funny. Jay asked Jefferson over Kupp. Yes, right now. And it all has to do with Stafford's uncertainty with his shoulder. So, yeah.
So if that news never came out, you had Kupp ahead of Jefferson prior to that? Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, they're so close. So, like, if there was a tier separator, I imagine that wouldn't have made the difference for you. But those guys are flip-flop, who you want in first. Things like that can make the difference. Or are you really concerned about Stafford?
Moderately concerned. He's played through so much. So I think he can play through this. The question is, if he gets that hit at the right spot, the wrong time, you can't play through that. So I don't know. We'll see. But so far, so good with Stafford. It's just a little concerning. It's a yellow flag.
Yellow flag. I like that. Are you laughing at yellow flag, Joey?
No.
What are you laughing at?
I just got a text message, a real one from Scott Fish.
What is that?
Says, please don't let JL send me this link. I don't want to come on this damn show.
I sent it to him over text and Twitter DMs already. You cannot escape me.
Oh
God! And I'm on the clock. I'm sorry.
And you're back on the clock, Simon.
Too funny.
Yes,
it feels good. It feels like you're back to yourself.
Yeah,
it's been a while since
we've had a lot of mocks that didn't start in the Simon way, and I feel, and I've left all of those mocks feeling like ooh icky. So these guys were sitting there. It's my wide receiver 3 and my wide receiver 5. That's a great way to start a draft. So I'm happy with it.
I love it. We got some questions here. I don't know if you all hit this one while I was out just trying to regain my composure after Joey started talking all sexy. TX said rank Henry, Cooper Kupp, and JJ. Did you do this?
No, we did not. I know we've talked a little. Jeff started, so we know
Jeff,
at least he's got JJ over Kupp. But
and Henry, it sounds like.
Yeah, how does Henry slide in there?
Sorry, what was the question? I was looking at my thing.
Oh yeah, you're just driving. No worries. Cooper Kupp or Derrick Henry first in this format for you?
Henry.
Okay. So
Henry.
JJ.
We're looking at probably 300 carries, another 15 touchdowns. I mean, you take that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
What do you think, Simon?
JJ's first for me in this list, and then between Henry and Kupp, I mean, how do you want to start your draft? Do you want to start your draft with an elite wide receiver? Do you want to start your draft with an elite running back? Know what I mean? Like if you're looking, they are both top tier options at their position, and if you want to start with a running back, then take Derrick Henry. If you want to start with a wide receiver, take Cooper Kupp. I'm probably taking Cooper Kupp. I'm more comfortable drafting that way. I'm more comfortable leaving that first round with a wide receiver, but I have no qualms. Henry's in that same tier of guys that you're drafting in that range. So for me, it goes JJ, Kupp, Henry, but Kupp and Henry are interchangeable because you're drafting both those guys in the first round. Know what I mean? Like you're choosing between them, and I don't think there's necessarily a right answer here. Both are going to be great.
Yeah. That is good.
That's a cop-out answer, but that's how I feel about it. How do you want to start your draft?
I don't necessarily think it's a cop-out. It kind of goes into the whole like rankings conversation we were having earlier in the week, where like it's probably a better idea to just bucket them in tiers and then choose based off strategy rather than going based off, oh, this guy's better than this guy, when they're just a few spots apart. We got some more questions here. Javier was in the show this morning, I believe, saying, what are your thoughts on Pacheco currently? And who would you keep, Pacheco or Raheem Mostert? Joey, I want to throw this one to you first, since you were drafting last time. What do you think about Pacheco?
I believe it or not, I would probably draft Pacheco over Mostert. Mostert's played 9 games the last 2 seasons. What is it? 1 game in 8 games the last 2 seasons. So I'm a little worried about his durability. I'm not as high on Pacheco as I was about 2 weeks ago. Them keeping Ronald Jones, it just has me a little worried. But at this point in the draft, I'm drafting a team, and I have to take one of these guys. I probably already have everything filled up, so I'm taking Pacheco because I feel like he's a better lottery ticket.
Great point. I was about to say the same exact thing. Is at the point that you probably are taking these guys, it's an upside versus floor conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pacheco, the most likely outcome is we see flashes. We see why he's earned this spot on the Chiefs. He gets mixed in, but that backfield isn't going to be the Pacheco show this season. Now that being said, there's a world where it does become that, and it's on the Chiefs. So that's a lottery ticket I'm willing to take. If you asked me, if this question was, we say this all the time, but I'm going to say it again. If it was bet $1 million, who's going to score more fantasy points this season, my answer might be Raheem Mostert. But if it's who do I want to draft at the end of my drafts, it's going to be Isaiah Pacheco because that ceiling is just so much higher.
Yeah.
I don't think Raheem Mostert has that ceiling.
I want to get up to uneasy allies, taking who I would have taken and Aaron Jones and then sniping me on AJ Brown. I love his team right now, or her team. I'm not sure.
Good job, Joe. Good job.
Where are they drafting from?
The 5.
Oh, right in front of you. Mm-hmm. So they, Aaron Jones right after you took Mike Evans, and then AJ Brown right before you took D.
I like that team too. Mm-hmm. Ooh, the Kupp AJ Brown combo is hot. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I missed whenever everybody on our team started loving AJ Brown for this season, and I came back and all of a sudden everyone was all in on AJ Brown, and I missed the memo. Like I'm still sitting here a little nervous, and everyone else is like, nope, we're in on AJ Brown. Oh shoot, I'm on the clock.
Yeah, you are. I'm all in on AJ Brown. Jeff, what do you think? How do you feel about AJ Brown?
I don't like him.
Simon.
No, I mean, it's not. I don't not like him. I just don't. Is he going to be that much better than he was last year? I mean, we're talking about an offense that's probably at best having 3,800 passing yards. I don't want wide receivers on an offense that has less than 4,000 passing yards. So that's why I'm kind of out on AJ Brown. Not really a fan.
That's fair. Joey, what do you think?
I do like him. I like the relationship him and Hurts have. Now, I'm not drafting him as like my first wide receiver if I have a chance. Like, I'm definitely hoping he's my second if I do draft him, but I'm comfortable with him in the third round. Jeff, how early would you draft him? I'm just curious. I mean, how late? Like, where do you feel comfortable drafting him if you do take him?
4th round, 5th round.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. He'll likely be taken before me. I don't have a whole lot of shares with Brown simply because of the things I just mentioned. Philadelphia is not a passing offense for me.
No.
I think that Jalen Hurts is probably going to lead the team in rushing by a wide margin. And, they're going to run the ball a lot. They're going to be a heavy running team in that regard. And I don't really see them being a strong pass-oriented type of offense. Now, that could change. But as of now, I don't see Jalen Hurts as someone who can win the game with his arm.
Yeah, I think I have a slightly different opinion or another, a perspective to add here is while we do have these like low passing volume offenses, and typically I feel like that's bad for fantasy, we do see a lot of fantasy players, or we do see typically like a few relevant ones from these teams, right? You have the Marquise Browns last year, the Mark Andrews, like in this Eagles offense, if they're able to, I feel like AJ Brown can really be the alpha in that team. And so even if it's not going to be a lot of passing volume, I think he's a talented enough receiver to make it work. I mean, he did in Tennessee, which is also not a high pass volume offense.
Yeah. That being said, Tennessee didn't have a Devonta Smith there as well. Know what I mean? Like they
had a Corey Davis.
I think Devonta Smith at this point is probably more competition than Corey Davis is on the field for targets, at least in my eyes, based on what we saw Devonta Smith. He put up almost 1,000 yards in that low passing volume offense last year. Like it was the heaviest rushing offense in the league by a significant margin, like enough so that we can safely project that they're probably going to throw the ball a lot more this year than they did last year and still be one of the highest rushing teams in the league. But Devonta Smith is real competition. That's not me saying I don't think AJ Brown's going to win this job, or be the most productive fantasy option on this team. I think he is, but I am worried about there's a lot of mouths to feed in that offense comparative to the slice of the pie. There's Dallas Goddard as well. Know what I mean? Like 3 mouths in that offense is a lot. It's a lot passing wise.
Yeah, totally fair. Totally fair. Mr. Scaver said, thanks for immediately calling me and Craig dum-dums, Jeff. I honestly, I don't know what that means. I've read it 3 times.
I think it was because they took Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor, and he said, no way, I'm taking Justin Jefferson.
Oh, okay, I see. And then Jeremy got a question for us, and he's in a 10-team PPR draft tonight. I have the 10th pick 2, Aaron Jones, Deandre Swift, and Saquon Barkley. Which of those 2 are you choosing, Joey?
Of those 2?
Those 3. Yeah. 2 of those 3.
So 2 of those 3, I'm going Jones and Swift. I understand there's a lot of love for Barkley, but it's PPR. And I think Aaron Jones might be second in the team in receptions and targets this year for the Packers. I really do think that could happen. And Swift, it's PPR. So yeah, Swift. Barkley, everything looks so good for him. I'll stick with Jones and Swift. Default to my rankings.
I think that's fair. I think Swift is locked in for me. Going back and forth on Barkley and Aaron Jones. I think I would go Aaron Jones. I think, man, but it feels like I could be wrong about that at the end of the season. It feels like I might look back on that and be like, I was dumb. What do you think, Jeff?
Guys, I am committing a draft crime here, going with tight end early and quarterback early. Usually that's a no-no.
Yes.
But it's no.
Scampers. You don't need
scampers. You're killing me with these running backs, dude.
They got their flexes figured out.
Bad cat.
What is Scampers doing?
King RB strategy.
I don't get it, man.
And Jeff's on the clock now, JL. Right as that question got there. So maybe
yes.
I'll jump in while you're making your pick, and then we can come back to that. I'm with Joey. It's Swift and Jones for me. I believe in Jones this year. Those guys are both it's not that I'm low on Saquon. It's just I'm high on both these guys. Swift is my RB6. Aaron Jones is my RB7. They're both going to be heavily involved in the passing game this year in a PPR league. And DeAndre Swift is one of the few guys that I think you can put in the conversation to be at the end of this season, the number one top scoring running back. Like he's one of the few guys that could get to that point. Now, again, I said I have him 6th, right? I'm not projecting that, but with those range of outcomes, he's got a safe floor and he could have that high of a ceiling. Swift is locked in. Jones is my second guy. Saquon would be fine, but he's not in that in consideration for me there.
Does that half PPR format change anything for Swift for you?
I mean, it lowers his upside a little bit, right? I think
but
a lot
in terms
of
like how you're seeing, how you would rank him, where you're taking him in the draft.
I probably wouldn't take Swift in the first round in a half PPR league, but I'm perfectly comfortable taking Swift in the first round in a full PPR league. Now it's just the difference between first round and second round. Know what I mean? Like I might pass on Swift in the first round, but it's not a big change.
Jeff, for you, how does that shift from PPR to half PPR? How does that affect your draft strategy or your rankings of the player, like where you're taking the players?
Not too much usually, but I will tend to kind of hover towards running backs who score more touchdowns, of course, than are more reception dependent, right? Like a guy like AJ Dillon or Derrick Henry, of course, is being a big touchdown scorer. A guy like Zeke will score quite a bit. I tend to lean more towards those guys. Chubb, when it comes to the half PPR versus 1 PPR.
That makes a ton of sense. What do you think, Joey?
What was the question? I was making my pick. Sorry.
I said, how does PPR versus half PPR shift your draft strategy?
Yeah, not much. And now from PPR to standard, that's. But by the way, let's not play in standard leagues, folks. No, you can if you want. Fantasy football is fun. Do whatever makes you happy. It doesn't.
Not standard.
The change from PPR to half PPR doesn't alter much for me. One name Jeff didn't mention I like a lot is James Conner this year. A lot of touchdowns. He's probably still the goal line back there in Arizona.
I wouldn't be surprised if Connor has less than 10 touchdowns this year.
Really?
Though. Yeah, I think a regression is coming, obviously from 18.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get.
But I think under 10 is a decent bet.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember while I was doing projections, this was a little bit earlier in the offseason. I was going through. I was like, "There's no way James Conner could do that same thing." And I was getting convincing myself a little bit, but now I'm still a little. Yeah, I know. I'm like, well, who else is gonna get all those touchdowns? I don't know.
It's still a great offense, and he's still probably the goal line back. So
I think I project him for like 11,
which is a lot to project anybody for. Know what I mean? Like that's not a knock on James Conner. That means you like James Conner, JL. Whether you want to admit it or not.
I had to look myself in the mirror because up until then, I had been staunchly saying no to James Conner.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys that when you look at it, it maybe gets a little bit more clear for you sometimes.
Eric in here, good question, said, would you trade Lance and Juju for Mac Jones and Aaron Jones? Ooh, Jones brothers. Super flex. Already have Mahomes. Week on running back.
Is this dynasty? We don't know.
Let's assume redraft probably, right? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll assume redraft.
Juju and Jones.
And tell us otherwise.
And Aaron Jones. No, sorry. Lance and Juju for Jones and Aaron Jones. No. I would keep Lance and Juju. Mac Jones is replaceable if this is redraft. Aaron Jones is good. It's not bad, but super flex. It's got Mahomes. I mean, I guess it depends. If you really need running back, you could do the move, but I wouldn't necessarily like it.
Yeah, I was going to bring up a similar point. I think this is semi-close and would really depend on my team. Yeah. Like Lance is higher risk, way higher upside. Way higher risk, I think, than Mac Jones. And, Juju, you're kind of absorbing that with the Juju for Aaron Jones because Aaron Jones, I think, is more likely to produce than Juju. They're much less risk. So
if I had to guess right now, I'd say that Lance and Juju completely outscore Jones and Jones. I mean, Lance over Mac, right? Big time. And then Juju and Aaron Jones, that's fairly
might not be that. Yeah, it might not be that far apart.
But if you really need running back, you could do it. But I wouldn't recommend doing that trade.
Just like in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
Simon, what do you think about this trade?
This one's tough for me just because I am Jones and Juju are both guys that I'm high on for this year. Like Aaron Jones, I know I'm a bit higher than consensus, and Juju, I know I'm a bit higher than consensus. But the difference from Lance to Mac, just in range of outcomes, sure, Lance could be worse than Mac Jones this year, but I don't think Mac has anywhere near the ceiling that a rushing quarterback in that 49ers offense like Trey Lance has with the weapons that he has surrounding him. So I think I'm staying on the Lance and Juju side. I know it's tough to be weak at running back at the beginning of the season, but I'm going to get on my running back soapbox a little bit right here. Running back. I'm not going to say it's easy to replace running back production, but at the beginning of the year, it is the position in my mind where it is the easiest to have clarity on what players you need to pick up off the waiver wire. You know what I mean? So if you know you're weak at running back, that's my preferred position to be weak at going into the first couple weeks of the season, because as those backfields shake out, people get injured early on in the season. It's so much easier to read a backfield, I feel like, than it is to read a receiving room that's unclear. And the receiving room can change regularly. The backfield's a little bit easier to predict once we've seen it on the field. So I play that waiver wire strong. I would keep Lance and Juju and keep your eyes peeled for the guy that breaks out week one, the unexpected starter, the early injury, and then go hard on the waiver wire for those guys.
Can I offer a counterpoint?
Yeah, 100%.
So I think that I completely agree with you. You said it's easier to flesh out in those first couple of weeks because things start to become clear. There's a big change from our assumptions, our previous data. Yeah. We all of a sudden have this new information to work with. It's also easier for your opponents to pick the right players off the waiver wire. So essentially, yeah, it is easier to pick them. But then that strategy that you're taking, right, is like essentially leveraging your fab if you use fab or waiver priority, I guess, in week one. Waiver priority, it wouldn't matter as much there, but
someone needs to tell Scampers to stop drafting running backs. Goodness, he's got 5.
I'll listen to no one.
Hello.
That's a high T draft right there with all those running backs.
No kidding.
That is so high T. Jail, my response to that would just be the number of times I've ended the season and had fab left and be like, God, I wasted it saving it for someone is way higher than the number of times I've been like, man, I wish I didn't drop $85 week one. You know what I mean? That's happened. I dropped $85 on Marquez Callaway in week one year, and it wasn't anything for me. Like, I started him twice. Now, that being said, I've also dropped $85 on James Conner on the waiver wire whenever it started. I've dropped $90 on Phillip Lindsay whenever it was clear that he was going to be the back there. So I am all about, like, get your guy. And if you know it's a necessity for your team, you're probably going to be more incentivized. You can make sure you get the guy, even if it uses a lot of your fab.
For sure. What I guess it wasn't really a counterpoint, more so just like breaking down the strategy of it, because it's a strategy. I'm not commenting on the quality of it, but just understanding what you're doing by doing it.
Yeah, that's just that's my thought process on it. It's not that what you're doing isn't wrong, holding on to fab, because stuff happens throughout the entire season. But it's just,
and you don't necessarily have to blow it all in week one or hold on to it, right? You could distribute it, and there's all sorts of strategies. But it's a good clarification. Carlos saying, I reached far for Pierce, but just to spark this question, I love that. What are your thoughts on him being the lead back in Houston? Joey, are you buying into the Damian Pierce hype?
I am. I've been really high on him all offseason, and that's
Damian Pierce tattoo yet?
I might. That's a lot of the Florida love, though, because I'm a Gator fan. So I saw him play a little bit last year, but what we saw was great. I think them letting Mac go yesterday was pretty telling for what their plans are with him. I liked him coming into the NFL. I remember talking to one of our teammates and saying, I need you to do a video on Damian Pierce. And it took him a while to do it, but he did it. I'm super excited for him.
Jeff, what about you? Are you as bullish as Joey is on Damian Pierce?
I think he's looked great so far in the preseason. It's not just open holes that he's running through. He's creating these holes. He's getting these cutback lanes. He's making the moves. I think he has an outside chance to be the top rookie running back this year, ahead of everybody. Breece Hall, Ken Walker, James Cook, Rashad White, all these guys. So, yeah, I think that he's got an opportunity, and so far he's making the most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's absolutely making the most of it. Simon, offer a counterpoint to Damian Pierce hype.
Royce Freeman is still on that team, guys.
That's a very good point.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I was just saying, I just like to bring up Royce Freeman as much as possible around jail. Yeah, he is on the Texans, but that's literally nothing. No, the counterpoint is the Houston Texans offense. Know what I mean? The counterpoint is, who cares if he's the starting running back if this is the worst offense in the NFL? I think that's the counterpoint. Do I think it is? No. Is that a possibility for them this year? Yeah, Davis Mills isn't as good as we thought he was. Teams are catching on. Their wide receiver core is just Brandon Cooks, and they have a rookie at running back. Maybe it's not a great offense. The opportunities are limited. His ceiling is capped. But that being said, starting running backs are wildly valuable, and he is the projected starter. So I'm not sure I'll be taking him in the 5th, 6th round, but if he falls to round 8, I'm probably in on Damian Pierce.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like,
he's not going to fall to round 8 anymore, though. That's the problem.
No.
He's going to be 6 or 7. I mean, as soon as he could potentially go before guys like Montgomery, Akers, Gibson, Jacobs, Dobbins, Mitchell. He could potentially go before those guys. And all it takes is one person in your group of 12 to realize that he can beat them, and he's gone.
When's too early for Damian Pierce for you, Jeff?
Too early. If Dylan is still on the board, if ETN is still on the board, that would be too early.
What about David Montgomery?
No, I'd take him over Montgomery, I think.
J.K. Dobbins?
Damian
No,
Pierce?
definitely not Dobbins. I'm against Dobbins. Montgomery, I might take him. That's a tough one. Generally, I would probably go towards the veteran there with Montgomery. So yeah, I think I would probably take Montgomery over him, but it's really close.
I've been pounding my fist on my shower wall every morning about J.K. Dobbins and Damian Pierce, not knowing which one I think is better.
That's why I said that one, because that question is the one that, like, I feel like we go through this name game and it's easy, and then we get to J.K. Dobbins and I'm like,
yeah. Him in that game is just tough. I think he's hard mode this year.
Yeah,
he is hard mode this year.
A hard question answer. Ooh, I like that Christian Kirk pick.
And Eric said, "You guys are the best. Much love.
Thank you, Eric.
You're the best, Eric. We love it when you guys come in and have questions. That's what we're here for.
Questions. I'm so excited that we're getting to like question season. Know what I mean? Like, we got occasional questions during like the depths of the off season, but we're getting to that time of year where it's like it's lots of questions. It's my favorite. I love it. I love it so much. I was just pulling up Damian Pierce's current draft spot according to NFC to look at some of the names going around him. Let's see. I can pull this up.
PRA said I picked Pierce off waivers last week. Well done. Just in time. He was already building that hype, but I think this week was when it was.
Yeah.
It became too much.
It absolutely became too much. The two backs going before him right now, Elijah Mitchell and Josh Jacobs. The two backs going right after him, CEH and Tony Pollard. So that's the range that he's going in. And you know what? I think that's about where I draw that line. Know what I mean? Like, I think I'm taking Elijah Mitchell and Josh Jacobs ahead of him. And I think I'm taking him ahead of CEH, Tony Pollard, Chase Edmonds. I did finally make the switch on Chase Edmonds. I think Damian Pierce is the right answer there. But I like that where he's going according to this ADP data, I think lines up exactly with what I think about him, which does not happen very often.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how that happens.
Yeah, the names higher were just better names.
Better names. That's how it works.
Ooh, I like this question in here. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Am I up?
No. You're about to pick, so I'm not going to ask you a question. I'll ask you after you pick. But this is a very good question. You can think about it.
This is a fun one.
I got one. Burley Sullivan asks, will there be a wide receiver that has a big jump this season like Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, I think there could be. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
You go ahead, Jeff. You got it.
So this has got to be somebody who has a wide range of receptions and targets over his next closest teammate, right? So it's my pick. Let me make a pick real quick.
Yeah, make a pick.
Let's just go with this. Okay. And there's not a whole lot of opportunities or teams to have that. I think one is Michael Pittman on Indianapolis. I think he's going to dominate targets, and therefore he could potentially be someone who is just the absolute go-to receiver for Matt Ryan. So he is one. Let's see. Another one, Cortland Sutton. That's a definite possibility in Denver.
Oh, crap.
So I like Sutton as a guy who could potentially take a big leap, especially if Denver allows Russ to cook. Let's see. Who else could be?
I got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got one, I think, and maybe not as large of a jump as Kupp, but I think Juju Smith-Schuster in this Chiefs offense is a player that could take a massive leap from what we've seen the past couple seasons. We've seen him be highly successful in fantasy. He's moving into one of the best offenses in football, and it's complete uncertainty about how that target share is going to break down, right? It is in his range of outcomes to be a top 5 wide receiver. We've seen Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce find that in that offense. Now, again, I'm not drafting him like that, but if you're looking at players where that's in their range of outcomes, it's in the range of outcomes for Juju Smith-Schuster, I think.
Yeah, it is. That's a good one.
Jeff, I didn't mean to talk during you. I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button.
How dare you? It's probably because your hands are all messed up from punching your shower.
I know. I meant to add Penny to my queue, and we'll just see if I like that pick or not.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So you took Penny instead of adding him to your queue?
Well, I wanted to see what quarterbacks were available.
Got it.
But, yeah, we'll see what comes back to me.
Also, Come Here Now finally showed up. Grabbed that draft spot. Accidentally went on auto draft, then said took
better
all
late than
of
never.
the running backs.
No, not all of them.
We were making fun
Scampers
of
got
Scampers
quite
for
a few.
drafting running backs, and then Come Here Now's over here just piling the running backs onto the roster. They'll be good. They'll be good to go for the season.
They will be. And Carlos threw out Hollywood. That's a good one.
Yeah, that is definitely a player that could take that kind of jump. Know what I mean? It's a high-powered offense. I don't expect him to be the one whenever Hopkins come back, but it's not outside of the range of possibilities.
Yeah,
and that's what we're talking about.
The major difference is just the competition for
DeAndre
targets.
Hopkins.
If the Jets had a quarterback, I would be completely and utterly all in on Elijah Moore.
Oh my God.
I think FF Twitter would be with you.
If they had a quarterback. But yeah.
They sing that to themselves all the time. Those poor Jets fans.
They're trying.
You can't hang ass. I know it's a mock, but what's your all's opinion on doubling up on the elite QB since Kyler fell so low for trade aspects if this was a real elite? So
I see. Yeah, Lamar and Kyler.
And this is a 1 QB, so I'm assuming that's the question is framed in. In a 1 quarterback league, are you guys interested in doubling up on QB to use as trade bait essentially?
Maybe not necessarily quarterback, because in a 1 quarterback league, it seems like you can find quarterback, especially with only, what are we doing, 12 rounds, 16 rounds or something even. Right. It's just, you're always going to find somebody, I think. And unless you've got like 2 elite type of quarterbacks, and you could say Jackson and Murray are fairly elite. That's a possibility. That's probably why that pick was made.
Well, yeah, I agree.
I will tell you, in a 1 quarterback league, like if a team has 2 quarterbacks like that, unfortunately for you, I know how not valuable on a weekly basis that second quarterback is to your fantasy team. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be out here like busting my team up to go and grab one of those quarterbacks from you. Whenever Jeff said, like exactly what Jeff said, I can go grab a Ryan Tannehill on the waivers. I'd much rather do that than sell off one of the most like valuable pieces on my fantasy team.
I know my opponent is now weaker because they're just clogging up their bench with this trade bait that I'm never going to trade for. So it's a win-win.
So like, I get it, but I'm not going to usually be the one to do it. And I'm not going to be the guy who trades for that quarterback from you. And I think there's a lot of people who have that mindset.
I have a rule. I never trade for quarterbacks in 1 QB leagues. I just will not do it. Dynasty, anything like that. Well, there's one exception. Damn it. I foiled myself. There's one exception. It's if your team is so utterly stacked that the only one of the few ways that you can really improve it even more would be just to get another slight edge at quarterback. It's the only time I would ever consider it.
But you're talking like if Ezekiel Elliott is your RB6 on your dynasty team,
right?
I'm saying
like
you've got
take it to the extreme. If your team is stacked and that's like the best edge you can carve out, go for it.
Oh, Gary, yet again. I thought for sure I'd get Dak on the way back. I'm gonna repeat it. You stinky boy. Just
if you.
I feel like every mock. I feel like every mock we call Gary a stinky boy, but we never really remember. So I bet you if you just go back, it's just weeks of us calling Gary a stinky boy. We got saying running backs. Oh, wow, that's a lot. Let's see. I'm not going to read them all, but you guys can see them up there. The running back squad, wide receiver squad. The question is, should I trade for a good wide receiver 1, or do you think I'll be okay? What do you think, Joey?
I'm looking at I think if you trade away, so let's say you don't want to trade away JT or Saquon. Let's say Hunt. What can you get for Kareem? You can't get a good wide receiver 1 for Kareem Hunt, I don't think. And I wouldn't want Hunt as my RB2. if you could get, let's say, Justin Jefferson for, I don't even know. I'm just because I'm looking at this makeup for the first time. Let me look at the.
I would probably try and divest a bit from JT.
Yeah.
It hurts to it hurts to trade JT away, even considering it. But you have holes at the other positions. Yeah, and you're weak at some of the other positions, and so in some cases you might want to take this really valuable asset and try and get maybe a few other assets that have equal value.
You might have to take something like a potential wide receiver one instead of one of these guys that looks like a lock. Know what I mean? Like maybe you trade JT for, I don't know, an Ezekiel Elliott and a Jalen Waddle. If you could get that done, that you still might not be able to get that done, but you're downgrading at running back a little bit for sure. But I do view a guy like Waddle in that tier as significantly above any of your wide receivers that you have. But Joey brought up a great point. If you can't do something like that, like if you can't get a running back that's better than Kareem Hunt back with that wide receiver, then I'm not moving JT or Saquon for less. And I don't think you're going to get what you're looking for with the other pieces.
Yeah.
Hey, I have those shoes that were in that profile picture. Fake ones, $11 ones from China, but that exact
Yeezys?
model of Yeezys. My fake Yeezys. That was the most fun I had when I was in China, was trying to buy those shoes in the underground subway market of counterfeit goods in Shanghai. It was the most fun experience I had, because they'd come in and I'd ask them how much were the shoes and they'd be like $300 and I'd be like $5. And then we'd meet in the middle. We'd figure it out.
We figured how much did you
It was
pay?
It was a game. $11.
Okay.
Pretty good.
That's not bad. That's a pretty good deal. You did a good job. You can't hang out here targeting Simons and Josh Gordon trying out for targets right now.
No. Why? Josh Gordon, I love you. So every time you go to a team, I get hope, whether I want to or not, just a little bit of hope. So I'm happy. I hope it works out for him. But like, just every time I buy in and every time it hurts a little bit.
Every time. Jeff, how are you feeling about your team so far? You got Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen, Juju Smith-Schuster, Hunter Renfrow, and Isaiah McKenzie as your wide receivers here. Patrick Mahomes pretty early. Mark Andrew, like you said, the tight end, the QB combo, and then your running back core, Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, and Devin Singletary. That running back core is pretty interesting. I feel like that's a pretty unique build.
Yeah, I have an RB1 by committee.
Yeah. One of them might pan out.
Something like that. Yeah. But shoot, I'm going to take a running back. I'm going with Zamir White here
today. Why were you just double fisting your movie theater cup, Simon?
Because I forgot I had one at my desk. I got another one and I realized, let's utilize both. Why empty one and make the other one feel left out? You can have two. Yeah,
that's true.
Remember when I said before that I committed a draft crime by taking tight end and quarterback early?
Yes.
In doing so, it left me with some question marks at running back. Now, generally, I'm not going to have a sniper take 5 running backs in the first 7 rounds before me. So I possibly could have gotten Javonte Williams instead of Keenan Allen. I possibly could have gotten Dylan instead of Juju Smith-Schuster. But, you got to roll with the punches, man. That's what you have. So one of these Patriot running backs will be better than the other. If they're both good, then I'm good. And then Singletary, in a half PPR, I like him over James Cook. Mm-hmm. And even though Buffalo doesn't really get a lot of rushing touchdowns from running backs, it's not a bad pick in the 9th round.
No, 9th round.
So it is what it is. But running back is definitely my worry spot of my team.
Running back, shmoney back. Who even cares if you have a good running back core when you leave the draft?
Yeah, to spend your net worth and bribe your league mates to let you have running backs off the waiver wire, then you'll be good. There's always ways to make it happen. But I like how you broke that down, because that strategy, I feel like it is a draft sin because the strategy isn't as flexible, right? Like if all of a sudden your league mates take a bunch of running backs, you're kind of stuck a little bit.
You put a roadblock on the path that allows you to zag.
Right. And the reason why I took Mahomes in the 4th round was because ETN went as the last running back before him.
Yeah.
And so ETN was my kind of, in case of emergency break class, go with running back there. And then when that didn't happen, I'm like, well, shoot, you know what? I'm going quarterback. And I did. And that's the rest.
No, that's why we mock, right? This is why we mock. I love this.
We had a question earlier in the show. where they said with the 2 quarterbacks, would you trade one, like draft one to trade one later?
Yeah.
And I think if you look at is it T-Wall, and you look at Scampers, does Scampers say no for AJ Dillon for Kyler Murray? Like, look at that. Like, look what it does to both.
He definitely doesn't say no.
I would say no, but I just said I don't trade for QBs. So,
but would the Murray owner want Dillon? Maybe.
Let's see who's available still at QB here.
I would rather have Dillon over. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say no.
I'd rather have Dillon over Murray.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because Murray, if you don't have Murray, you have someone else.
I'd rather have Dillon over Mitchell at this point.
If you could have Aaron Rodgers right now, would you rather have AJ Dillon and Aaron Rodgers or Kyler Murray?
Oh,
I'd take the next quarterback on the board now.
Trey Lance.
Lance or Cousins.
Oh, JL loves Cousins.
Either one.
My favorite.
Yeah, it's his number one favorite player.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and I've started like a little bit down the list, right? Aaron Rodgers, Trey Lance, Derek Carr. It's a solid list of QBs. I don't think Kyler Murray, well, I do think he's going to finish above all those guys. I don't know. This could be as much as AJ Dillon versus Isaiah Spiller, Brian Robinson, Jamal Williams, Pacheco. So maybe that's the question. Would you rather have AJ Dillon and Pacheco? No, AJ Dillon and Aaron Rodgers, or Kyler Murray and Pacheco?
Oh, well.
Dillon and Rodgers.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. Or Dillon and Cousins.
Right.
Either one.
Any of those QBs. Right. And that's kind of my point. It illustrates it a bit, is why those QBs just aren't as valuable in one QB. You can't ask. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Simon.
I was just going to say, I get what Jeff is saying, because like if you just look at starting lineup, know what I mean? Like just your starters. It might upgrade his lineup to trade AJ Dillon for Kyler Murray, even if Aaron Rodgers is his quarterback right now. Know what I mean? Like it still can be an upgrade, but it's a philosophy on how you play. I know, Joe, you and I have talked repeatedly. I love building a glass cannon in fantasy because so much has to go right anyways. I love just like building a powerhouse starting lineup. And if my bench rots, my bench rots. And if an injury ruins my season, an injury ruins my season, because that could happen anyways. So I'm all about those trades that kind of eliminate depth and add power to your starting roster.
Yeah.
But that's a philosophy that doesn't always work out. It's cost me fantasy championships as well.
And that is a good point, Simon. Absolutely. Yeah. We're talking essentially, they're splitting hairs on strategy, so all this stuff is useful, hopefully invaluable to use in your drafts this week. PRH said, hey guys, 10 managers, 15 player roster. Should I go get Jalen Hurts in a trade? I have Russ and Lance. 1 QB league. I think you're fine.
Yeah. I don't think you need to.
Yeah. I think you're good.
Yep.
Superflex. I still think you're fine. Probably. And you can ask, did I miss something? Why is Walker dropping so low?
Seattle.
Anybody want to give an update on Walker?
Well, I'll add a little bit to what Jeff said. Seahawks.
And I'll add some more to that.
3rd and 10. 3rd and 10, and it's not a run, it's a pass, and it's incomplete, and they punt.
And then the game's over.
No, it has to do with injury. Has to do with I believe he's dealing with a hernia surgery, and so people aren't necessarily it's unclear whether he's going to have a strong start to the season or even start the season.
I believe the last quote was 1 day at a time from Pete Carroll, which if Pete Carroll's saying 1 day at a time,
old man,
just probably like 20 days at a time. Cause I feel like he's the guy that's like, he's ready to go right now, but really like the leg is still in a cast.
Yeah.
So if Pete Carroll's saying 1 day at a time, I'm taking it seriously.
Days that I picked Lockett just for JL, man, that's just, everybody's out here targeting us, Simon. You got Josh Gordon targets. An enormous papaya asks, speaking of Pats, no one talks about Jacoby Myers. Somebody talk about Jacoby Myers.
I drafted him, so I can talk about him.
Okay,
I like Jacoby Myers a lot this year. He's been the most targeted wide receiver on the Patriots the last 2 seasons. And Mac Jones and him seemed like they got a little bit of a connection halfway through the season last year. Someone's got to catch passes there. And as my 6th wide receiver, absolutely. Let's go.
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, could be the guy there. Could be sneaky value. Well done, guys. We got 8 seconds left. No, it just hasn't updated.
This hasn't updated. I wanted to add one thing on Jacoby Myers. The reason I haven't been drafting him a lot this year is not so much because I don't like Jacoby Myers. It's the way I generally build my teams. I usually have very, very good starting wide receivers, like top tier starting wide receivers on my team. So whenever I'm drafting wide receivers late, I'm not taking guys that are probably like these safe players that are going to probably finish as a wide receiver 3, which is valuable for fantasy. But in the way I build my teams, Jacoby Myers is almost never going to start on this team ahead of Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Williams, and Darnell Mooney. It's just not going to happen in my mind. But taking a guy that could blow up in that range, like an uncertain rookie or something like that, just makes more sense. So from a roster construction standpoint, I don't usually draft Jacoby Myers. But if you went running back heavy early and grabbed a tight end as well, Jacoby Myers is a great guy. I think he's going to be consistent and he'll be good enough. He's just not going to be a week winner kind of guy.
Yeah.
If I could add on Jacoby Myers, if you've got a fairly deep roster of starters, like 10 or even 11 deep, he becomes a really nice flex play for you as someone that you can get, like you said, in the draft in the, what was it, the 9th round, 10th round, something like that. Right. So yeah, I like Jacoby Myers, a guy. What did he have? 90 catches last year, 88, something like that.
I mean, first touchdown.
Well, yeah. I mean, so.
And then I think he got one more after that.
Yeah, so the touchdowns should come, right? They would have to come. Yeah. That he's better than a 2-touchdown receiver. So, yeah, I like the call of Myers. And it's pretty obvious that he's the top guy in New England right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and drafting with us. As always, it is truly a pleasure hanging out with you.
We love you, Jeff.
Mm-hmm. Love you too, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks for saying that, Jeff. You didn't even have to. Guys, if you are watching this and you aren't already following our friend Jeff, go and fix that right now.
Ooh, I can actually touch his thing.
Oh, touch his thing right now, Joey. Joey's touching Jeff's thing. So go look at Jeff's thing that Joey's touching right now. And that's
look, now I'm holding it.
Someone bonk Joey.
Is it heavy, Joey?
It's very heavy.
Very heavy.
Oh, man.
Craig's going to go cry now because Mr. Scamper sniped him on teasing JL by drafting Kirk Cousins.
Baby Craig going to cry?
Oh, he's so sad because he didn't get to mock JL with his draft pick.
Maybe he'll make a GIF about it.
Guys, that's going to be it for us this afternoon. Everybody who watched along with us and drafted with us, thank you so much. We will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time with another mock draft. And if you're up early, if you got to wake up, we are going to be live, Jalen and I, with our friend Coupe Fiasco every weekday morning, Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 a.m. over on the Better Sports Network. Download that app and come hang out with us. Until tomorrow, though, we are out of here.
We'll see
you guys later. Good luck in your drafts.
Good luck, everyone.